Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. Today's battle is on the Malinovka map, and we've got Fury, the commander of 1AR, in the ELC even 90 tier 8 French premium light tank. It's probably one of the better light tanks at this tier, if not the best. And it's platooned with Ravioli in the T832, and it's going to get a good battle out of this. Alright, so Fury's going to come up to this bush to do a bit of initial spotting. No, he's not. He's progressing further. He's already spotted the BADATTANKING 12T. That's a good thing because the 12T is a bit of a lower optics, as in view range, so Fury didn't get spotted, and his camo is very good. Of course, very low profile for this thing, and now he's spotted another light tank. And he's also spotting the tanks going up the hill, so it's already spotted quite a few tanks there. And this is a fairly forward position here, and it's probably the benefit of being in the even 90. Now, obviously, at this point, you're going to make sure that you're not going to shoot, because that will drop your camo straight away. But spotting all these tanks here. Now, that doesn't mean that they can be shot at. So you can see he's only picked up a small amount of assisted damage, and that's mostly from the light tanks, because they're the only ones that are in line of the tanks that can shoot down. But he's actually passing on the information about where the enemy tanks are to his team, so that they can make better decisions. So it's just going to hold this position for a little while, I'd suggest, and it's going to be interesting to see whether any of the enemy light tanks decide to push up a bit further and compromise this position. So you've got to be ready to run away, basically. Now he's turned around in that context and facing the other direction, but you can do that, and that would make it a bit faster to accelerate away. But these light tanks know they're being spotted, so one of them will probably decide to make a push, and it might be the ELC. Now, oh no, here he comes. See, just coming into an obvious bush. Yeah, Fury locks him in. The closer he gets, the more you want to put a shot into him. He's already been tagged once. Okay, he's coming for this bush, so Fury does the right thing. Puts a shot into him, knows he's going to get spotted, but pulls back so he can't get damaged. And this ELC, even though he's given up most of his health, Fury could come up and finish off, but that would expose him to the other light tank, so he just holds it until he can get back in the bush without getting spotted. Now, it looks like the ELC has just gone down off the cliff there to get out of the way. And there's the Bulldog. Now he can take a shot at the Bulldog because he knows that he's got better view range, and you can see he didn't get spotted there, so his camo held up, but he only had one shot in the locker there. 3-shot auto later. So he couldn't follow up and get the kill, but left him on 7 hit points, which is going to keep his head down, I would think. He's not going to push too hard, but you could just do passive spotting, and that would make it a little bit difficult to progress along this line here. But in any case, that's lifted his spotting damage to just over 1k, so a good start there. Each team's got 3 light tanks. His team's got a slight advantage in the sense that they've got a tier 9 light tank as well, the AMX 1390, and that's no slouch either, but probably not quite as good as the ELC even 90, at least not in terms of overall camo and spotting capability, but it's got a very punchy gun, so it can put out a bit of damage. 1390's down on the south, and there's not a whole lot of activity down there. There's the M41 that is on very low health is down there, as well as an Indian Panzer. In case Fury decides to just take a bit of a risk and push up a bit further, this will help him spot and even shoot at tanks going up the hill. Of course, he's got to be a bit careful shooting from this position. Is he going to get spotted by the ELC? And he certainly gets spotted. There was the ELC of 90, and he gets hit twice by the BADATTANKING 12T, but this is his escape route here. He can get down into this ditch here, And this is also a very difficult position for the enemy, that's very hard to dig out a tank in this position. And in fact, the team's taken out the enemy even 90 there. So now we can come up here and see if you can spot out that 12T again. Alright, and they're spotting a couple of tanks that are covering the hill there. So it's got a Tiger 2 in the trees, and he's now completely exposed, and looks like he should be expecting a bit of rain of fire at some point. And there's the 12T, so he's been spotted, and he knows he's been spotted, so he pulls back. But in this position, basically, he can cover the whole enemy flank here. So there you go, the Tiger 2 is starting to lose quite a bit of hit points. And that's taken Fury over 2k of spotting damage there. But basically can't advance really any further until that Tiger 2 goes out, and there he goes. Now that gives him the ability to move up to where the Tiger 2 was. And that's exactly what he's doing. So he wants to keep the Batchat 12T a bit at arm's length until he can take advantage of it. Now, it's interesting that he's not stopped at where the Tiger 2 was, he's actually heading for the forest here. Now he's going to spot quite a few tanks. We know there's the K91. The question is, they're all facing up the hill. Will they notice him? No, but he's also picking up some enormous assisted damage there by spotting those tanks, and his team's coming down the hill and they're taking them out one by one. Now that really team is on a roll now. They've got 7. There's the K91 PT dodges the incoming fire from that dangerous TD, but the TD is no match for the circling light tank, so Fury just going around in circles, and in fact he's been tracked. He's picked up a shed load more of assisted damage, so now we're just heading for where the 2 light tanks are remaining, and the Indian Panzer who's down in the corner. It looks like that 1390's decided he doesn't want to push too hard. Well, there's the Batchat, there's the Walker Bulldog on 7 hit points, and those 7 hit points go straight away. And now he's just dodging around, just trying to get this Indian Panzer to basically shoot at him. And in fact, he does land a shot, but that's okay. I think this is the end of the Indian Panzer. He's the last tank standing. Fury decides he doesn't want any more direct damage. He'll just take the assisted. No, he might want to get the kill here. And goes for the ram. It doesn't quite work, but he gets the last shot in, and that's a great result. Oh, I got the results here. So a couple of shots of damage there, but the main thing, 7k of spotting damage. That's picked up the 2 light tank wards, the patrol duty and the scout. Now, you can take a lot from that battle. The main thing being a really systematic approach to moving up to a position of advantage that you can escape from, eliminate the enemies in front of you through spotting or your own damage, and then moving up systematically to take the next position of advantage, and then being aggressive when it pays off. So it's a balance that you've got to find in the game to get the most out of it. Now, this has only earned a first-class mastery badge. That's not necessarily a problem, but because that means you're still better than 90% of the other players in this tank for the last week. So let's have a look at the team score. 1221 base experience, that's a nice level there. Not quite enough to get an ace tanker, but nonetheless that leads the experience. And Ravioli not quite making it. He died a bit early there, I think, so even though it was a bit of a walkover from his team. And you can see that 1390 just being too cautious down the bottom end, could have pushed on that Indian Panzer there, but decided not to for whatever reason. And you can see he's only come right down the end of the experience. But we're not trying to make an example of that, but just to give you the comparison. All right, so it looks like the enemy didn't do a whole lot. But how did a 60 TP with 0 Hit points of damage come in second place there, but nonetheless. All right, so what did it cost to operate? Well, this is a premium tank, and as a light tank, you obviously lower your cost by not having to shoot as much. So only fired 5 shots, 3 of those hit, and only 2 penetrated. He did have some battle payments running, so had a nice bit of income there, but full supply of his consumables. Made a nice profit there of just under 94k. So great game there from Fury. Thanks very much for the content. And again, hopefully you either learned something from this or you're entertained by it, in which case please give it a thumbs up. The more the video can get, the more it gets in front of people. The algorithm is a wicked beast and it really lives on likes. So if you could like it a bit more, that would really help the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing that, but we will have more great content to follow, so thanks very much for watching.